Hey guys, in this rapid review video, we're going to be looking at dividing fractions, so let's get down to business. We're going to start off looking at a whole number divided by a fraction using the following problem. Jason had 2 pans of brownies. He decides to cut his brownies into 1/8 sections. How many people can he share his brownies with? It's important for us to remember when we're doing a whole number divided by a fraction that we're looking for how many pieces. We're looking for that total number of pieces that we create when we divide our whole number into fractions. So we're actually going to get a bigger number than what we started with, even though it's division. Here's what I mean. In this problem, Jason is going to take 2 pans of brownies and he's going to divide them into 1/8 sections. So in our models, we're going to divide these into 2, 4, and 8. And I have to do that for both models. So again, 2, 4, and 8. So now that we took his 2 pans and we divided it into 1/8 sections, we want to figure out how many people he can share his brownies with. So he can give every person 1 brownie slice. So all we do is count the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we see that he has 16 pieces. So do you see how our number got bigger? Because we have to think about what our number means. In this case, our number means pieces. How many pieces did he make? And he made 16. So even though he only started out with 2 pans, he ended up with 16 pieces. And that's why the number can be bigger. Now let's look at it using standard algorithm. The problem that we're solving is 2 pans of brownies divided into 1/8 pieces or sections. We're going to use this over here, keep, change, flip, to help us figure out how to solve it using standard algorithm. The first thing that we're going to do is keep the first fraction the same. Now this is a whole number, so just like with multiplication, we're going to put that whole number over 1 to turn it into a fraction. Keep the first fraction the same. Then we're going to change. We're going to change that operation symbol from division to multiplication. So we keep the first fraction the same, and then we change the operation symbol. Now we're going to multiply. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to flip. We're going to flip that last fraction around to show its reciprocal, or its opposite. So instead of saying 1/8, we're going to say 8/1. So we keep the first fraction the same, we change the operation symbol, and then we flip the last fraction around to its reciprocal. And now we solve it like we would any other multiplication problem with fractions. Multiply the numerator, 2 times 8 equals 16, and multiply the denominators, 1 times 1 equals 1. We know that any number over 1 is the whole number, and in this case it's 16, and so our answers are the same. Jason can share his brownies with 16 people because he created 16 pieces. So that's how you divide a whole number by a fraction, remembering that we're looking for those pieces, and so the answer is going to be bigger than what we started with. Again, because we took something whole and we turned it into pieces. You'll also be asked to divide fractions by whole numbers. Let's look at this problem to help us. Melissa brought her leftover birthday cake to a party. She had 2/3 of the cake left. If Melissa shares her cake with 3 other friends, so 4 people in total, what fraction of the birthday cake does each person get? In this case, we're now taking a fraction, 2/3 of the cake, and we're dividing it by a whole number, 4 people. It's important when we do fraction divided by whole number to remember we're looking at how much of the whole thing each person gets. How much would one person get of the whole? So let's look at how we would solve this problem. Again, we're going to start with our models. So here is the birthday cake that Melissa brought in. You can see that 2/3 of it are shaded in because 2/3 of the cake were left over, and this piece is not left over. Melissa's going to share it with 4 people, including herself. So she's going to take what she has and she's going to divide it into 4 pieces. So let's go ahead and take this and divide it into 4s. And we see that each person would get a fourth of it. So here's what one person would get. And another person would get this piece, and the third person this part, and the fourth person this part. So one person would get one piece, two pieces. They would get these two pieces here. But again, it asks us what fraction of the whole birthday cake. So we're talking about this whole thing. So we actually have to extend our lines. Even though this part is missing, it's already been eaten, we need to extend it to figure out what fraction of the whole birthday cake one person will get. And then all we do to find our denominator is count all of the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so we see that each person is going to get 2 out of 12 total pieces, including the pieces that have already been eaten. Now let's look at it using standard algorithm. The problem that we're solving is 2/3 of a birthday cake divided by 4 people. 4 people are trying to eat 2/3 of the birthday cake. Just like with multiplication, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our whole number over 1 to turn it into a fraction. Now we use our keep, change, flip to help us. Keep the first fraction the same. 2/3 still stays 2/3. Then we're going to change the operation symbol from division to multiplication. Keep, change. The last thing we're going to do is flip. We're going to flip that last fraction around to show the reciprocal. So instead of 4 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 4. Keep, change, flip. And now we solve it like we would any multiplication problem when we have fractions. Multiply the numerators first. 2 times 1 equals 2. Multiply the denominator second. 3 times 4 equals 12. And so you can see that our answer is the same, 2/12. Now we can simplify this by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by its greatest common factor of 2. And we would see that our simplified answer is 1/6. So what fraction of the birthday cake does each person get? Each person gets 1/6 of the cake. And there you have it. That is how you divide with fractions, looking at both whole number divided by fraction and fraction divided by whole number. Thanks for watching.